So I was on Twitter the other day and I was passing around this chart that I made because I was getting a little sick of hearing the whole alt-right Antifa fighting the alt-right like they were different forces, when it's very clear they're both after the same goal. They just want it to happen in different ways. And that's, they want maximum state power to demolish their enemies. So this chart's a little hard to see. I'll blow it up real quick. I basically just tried to put all of the, rather than doing the right-left thing like we like to do, I wanted to show something where it kind of showed freedom versus state power, because that's really what the argument is at this point. It's not left-right, it's freedom and state power. And Antifa and the white nationalist, white supremacists are in the same exact spot on this chart, because they both want maximum state power. And again, they want that power so they can crush their enemies. They can crush the people that they think they're superior to. So I posted this a few different times. It was in some comments to some other tweets and things like that, and posted as my own tweet. And I got into this interesting conversation. It started out a little snarky. I actually blacked out the response. So this guy responded, and it says, "Square that circle, please." And then he posted a picture of, this is a picture of the chant that Antifa was saying. It was no USA at all. And then this is part of my chart that says they want maximum state power. So he was making the argument that they want freedom. So I kind of broke down, they hate freedom. They wave communist flags. I mean, that should be a huge red flag. They can scream about freedom all they want, even if they were directly saying they wanted freedom. If they're waving a communist flag, that should tell you so. I mean, it's a literal red flag. And also, their whole no USA at all chant, that has nothing to do with they don't want government or they don't want the state running things. It just has to do with the fact they hate the United States. They hate everything it stands for. They've been in indoctrination camps their entire lives, all through, school, college. The entire time they've been told how horrible America is, how awful it is, how it's, it's so different from every other country because it's oppressed all these people, even though you know the tiniest bit about history, and this kind of crap happened throughout the entire world. Every country's got its bad, and America's got way more of its good. And in a tweet, I said that as much as I could. No USA at all. It's hardly a chant for freedom. So he makes the argument that how you can hear people call for the abolishment of the state, which requires large amount of violence to maintain itself. I think it's less liberating than wanting less regulation. So he basically is making the argument from a libertarian mindset. I think he's trying to... It seems like he thought he was going to be able to pull me in, because I definitely tend to lean a little more libertarian, even though I don't think I'm that much. I'm probably, on my own chart, closer to a conservative than I am a libertarian, but I definitely lean that way. It seems like he was trying to compel to the libertarian side of things and be like, well, this is what libertarians want too. So I went back to the communism thing. Again, they're waving communist flags, so I'm not going to ignore that. We're not just going to act like that didn't happen. And again, they're arguing they don't want to abolish the state. They just want their people in charge of the state. They want their people in power in the state, and their people aren't in power. If Hillary Clinton had won, Antifa wouldn't be out in the streets chanting no USA at all. They wouldn't even exist. They wouldn't be out anywhere, because they're not against the government. They're against this government. They're against this group being in power. So he goes into the no borders thing. And he claims that they're anarchists. Again, I'm not ignoring the communist flag. I'm going to keep harping on that, because that's a big thing that they call for. I mean, you see these people interviewed, and they constantly are talking about their love of socialism and communism. So, no, they don't want to abolish the state. They're not anarchists. They want their people in power, is what they want. So I conceded, I know that's a libertarian stance to have no borders, but it can't be achieved by just opening up the borders and leaving the rest of the country the way it is. And I brought up the interviews and talked about how they want socialism. They want expanded government programs. They want huge government programs. They want a huge welfare state. And they want open borders. You can't have both. No libertarian wants expanded government programs. No libertarian wants them pumping money into entitlement programs. So you can have open borders. You could do it, but it would have to revert back to the way things were. You know, everyone likes to use the immigrants. Oh, this country was built on immigrants, built with immigrants, built by immigrants. Well, that's all true, but there was no welfare. You came over, and you did well, or you died, or you went back. There was one of three things that were happening. And an overwhelming number of the immigrants ended up going back to their country because they couldn't hack it. They couldn't make it. And that's not the case anymore. Now, about the same number of immigrants that used to go back, I think it was around 60%, that's almost that same exact number, come in and immediately go on welfare and stay on welfare. That's a program they've never paid a dime into in their entire lives. They've never paid. They're coming from another country. They've never given any money to our government whatsoever, and they come in and immediately get on welfare and immediately get on entitlement programs. That's absurd. That's not. You can't have no borders and have that. Now, I'm all for get rid of all the entitlement programs, open the borders right up. That's fine. People will not flood in like they are now because you'll have to work. You'd have to come in and you'd have to work and you'd have to be successful. And the value of people the caliber of people you'd get coming in would be a lot higher. So it was interesting. I didn't expect that. I hadn't really heard that argument. I did see later, when I paid a little bit more attention, I did see kind of CNN and some other news outlets almost making the same argument that Antifa is all about freedom, that they just want, they always make the anti-fascist argument, but they're even pushing they just want freedom. They want freedom. Everything about them says they don't want freedom. They just want their people in power, and they've proven they'll use violence to meet that goal if they have to.